welcome back to Fates Apart, Episode 2, a bi-weekly actual play homebrew campaign that will be released on Bardicdice's YouTube and Spotify every other week at 7:30 CST. Welcome back as we meet all four of our fated companions as they begin to reacquaint themselves after 15 years after a great terrorist attack now known as the Great Awakening. Enjoy, and may the fates roll the die. You guys begin to walk to one of the tables. Again, you can see the goblin kind of over in one area. Everyone give me an investigation check.
1.
Oh, Zinnia, what is happening?
Man,
I'm adorable.
I got a 12, but I got a pass of a 23.
14.
I'd be more than willing to go with the passive on this one just because you guys are walking up. But
Up to you.
what was the other highest ones?
18.
18?
And
Nice.
14.
All of you except Zinnia, unfortunately. Zinnia, you've gone straight up to grab a table real quick, and as you do, an orc walks up with a vest and goes, "My lady, if any drinks or orders are at your behest, we have a special menu for the night," and hands over a drink menu consisting of many various cocktails of the Elixir of Celestial Sparkle, Dragonfire Whiskey, Mermaid's Kiss Martini, a Phoenix Feather Cocktail, and it just continues on. The other three, as you're walking up, you notice the goblin as he's sitting there. He's actually got like 4 shadows, and they're all slightly different. They don't seem to be. One of them's goblinoid, but the other 3 seem different. One almost seems like a tiefling, and they're like all in this position. But it's almost like various lights are on them, but they're in different forms.
If it is all right with you guys, I know we are going to be getting drinks, but I wouldn't mind talking to this little goblin. He's weird.
Yeah, I think curiosity is getting the best of me for this one, so.
The ruckus of the night continues on. There's music still going around, and as some of the attendees have been heading to go up, there actually seems to be there is some attendees bringing up some large crates onto the ship, and it seems like some of them have poured over. As Osric, you predicted, there's a bit of a delay to the ship boarding, as what seemed to be going on about 5 to 10 minutes clearly is not going to be happening anytime soon. So it does seem like you guys are stuck off the ship just for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so who wanted to stay at the table, and is anyone else heading off?
I mean, if everyone's interested, why don't we just all go together? It's been a long time since we've had such an adventure.
Would you like me
Just
to
like
have
the festival
drinks?
before.
I'll return to the table upon your return.
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
Sure.
Just the one over there.
Is there
Thank you.
any special orders?
Yes, just a little bit of cinnamon bourbon, please.
Right up.
The celestial one sounded interesting.
Oh, of course. Celestial Sparkle, my lady.
I will take the bourbon as well.
Ribbons.
What she's having sounds real classy.
Simple enough. He kind of bows and heads off to go kind of prepare your table. It seems like he's put down a bit of a placeholder there for you guys, so no one will take it.
Quite a nice fellow, that one.
Yeah.
Yes. Good service so far in this place.
So you guys head up to the goblin?
Yeah.
Okay. You kind of look over, and he's got a bit of his own little like setup and like a half tent, kind of giving this ambiance and bit. As you kind of walk up, the warm light glows from a single lantern in this otherwise dark tent, illuminating canvas walls decorated with patchwork iconography of comets, keys, knights, and more. The goblin sits cross-legged on the ground, and with your perceptions as well, it seemed that he had just been looking at you all and had turned over this card that seemed to have 3 figures on it. At the bottom said Fates, and just seemed to have put it back down and begins to shuffle this tarot card again. Kind of wearing the blue hat. He has a lopsided smile that when the white eyes look at you, they're not quite looking at you. They're kind of looking off. It took you long enough. Huh? Welcome.
Oh,
Would you like your fortune read?
that sounds
Sure.
lovely. Thank you.
Step up first for those who are brave.
I'll step up.
It's probably a charlatan anyways.
Be nice.
A charlatan? Oh, the spreads of fates, what have they me? You have much about you. Pick a card. And he'll begin to shuffle through. Go and roll me a d10 as he's kind of waiting for you to tell him to stop.
2.
2. He pulls it out. The same card that he was just looking at. He pulls back up. This Fates card. Well. And his eyes glow again. Sadness. For your eyes have seen a horrible catastrophe. Take solace in knowing there's nothing you could have done to stop it. And kind of just goes back to shuffling.
I mean, we all have.
Everybody's seen some tragedy in their lives, and nothing special there.
Part of life and death.
If you do not believe in the cards, they do not need to believe in you to be true. Who's next?
No.
I'll step up and draw
Also-
one.
Go to roll me d10.
8.
You, sir, seem to be pouring with the magics. You must be the sage. As he hands up this beautiful one of this scarlet wizard. Give advice freely and often. It will save another's life in the near future, earning their loyalty.
Slap.
I know.
I do what I can when it comes to advice, though I don't know if it's always the best.
Spreads out his deck again.
Miss Nubia, would you like to go?
Oh. Thank you. Yes. Sure.
Roll me a
Cards are
d10.
my speciality. Yes. She's gonna look at the deck too while she's close. 5.
5. Interesting. He begins to go through this and he stops on yours. That one is true, but another one calls out to you. And he picks out a second one. The first one he gave you was the one you picked. And it's of the knight. As he holds it up. Someone will offer you their services in time of great need. Do be sure to trust them. But my lady, there's one linked to this card. And right behind it was the throne. Great responsibility shall be thrust upon you. Only you will know if you're ready.
Oh,
That is true.
I only speak what the cards reveal. Nothing more, nothing less.
Of course. I appreciate it. Thank you. Osric.
I suppose if I have to.
You don't.
No one's making you.
I admit to some base
So lovely.
curiosity.
However, If
All your friends jumped off a cliff. Would you jump off a cliff?
Curiosity found the cat.
the simple fortune isn't enough for you, you can pull from my other deck for a price.
And what is the price? Here's where they get you.
Your shadow.
Oh, my shadow.
Until the fortune comes true, of course.
And what is the benefit of pulling from this other deck?
That is for the fates to decide. Not for me.
If you'll allow me to pull a regular card first, I'd like to see what it says.
Ah.
And then that will influence my decision.
To the fates it is. You roll a d10.
10.
Ooh.
He goes through this slowly. Fates are not kind. Ruin. You will
Whoops.
soon lose something you hold dear.
Shadow.
Sorry,
Alright.
my friend.
Well,
Oh.
if that is the case, then I better be as prepared as possible. I will lose my shadow. You pull a card.
No.
Only I decide my fate.
Yeah, that's right.
How many
Thick.
do you wish to pull, my friend?
Oh god, what is this?
Wait, did I pay twice then for both cards? You pulled the other one.
You do not declare these are freely given. This is more of a price, of a higher scale.
Osric, I really don't think this is a good idea.
What's the worst that could happen? He said
You
something
could lose
bad
your
is going to
shadow.
happen.
Something
Yeah,
bad
maybe.
could happen to you.
He only loses it until the thing comes to pass. So if it happens
Exactly.
immediately, he gets the shadow right back.
What if the card says you die?
Well, then he's the cult of the shadow. But I don't think that that's going to be the way that this goblin's going to be able to keep business going very long.
That's fair.
No.
Okay, maybe with that.
I know.
You're a
I
grown man. You can make your own decisions.
I will draw 2 cards.
Wow. For 2 days, your shadow will be with me. Pick the card. Roll me a d100.
Oh god, I hate it. I'm so nervous.
I hate it here.
54.
Oh. All right, roll me another one.
I don't like this.
That's on you, sir.
53.
How much? 33?
53. 53 and 54.
Seriously?
Yeah, you look
Wow.
right.
Oh,
All right.
those are good odds.
He pulls out he puts the cards down one by one again, keeping the ruin one right in front of you face up. And then with a little switch of his wrist, this deck appears. And he hands it out to you as you declare 2 and pull about midway through the deck 2 cards. And you feel this intense sadness. And the rest of you 3 see is his shadow that's on the ground that kind of mimicked these cards, looked at it and put his hand to his head almost in sorrow, and then walks forward and joins the goblin, and his shadow walks away from him, detaching at the feet of this goblin, so like they spread out. The first one, this card appears to you, and the rest of you look at it, it's blank. Osric, you see gems. 8 gems on there. And the second one, it seems to be some sort of like a healer's kit, like a pouch with potions and some wrappings. In 2 days your fortune shall be. And he'll put his hand back out for the cards.
So, do you know what this means?
The fortune shall come true when your shadow returns, and those
Right.
shall be yours.
Those, okay.
They'll find their way to you one way or another.
Sure. Whatever you say. So long as I get my shadow back. I know people. I can find you if I need.
Don't worry, I will bore of it eventually. Does anybody else wish to give their shadows?
I most certainly do not.
No,
No, sir.
thank you, but I very much do appreciate the offer.
It has been a pleasure. And he looks over and kind of like past you guys a little bit. I wouldn't do that if I were you. And you see like a kid stopping just short of like about to reach into someone's pocket and is like doing this. And the lady just kind of snaps her purse. Enjoy your trip.
Well, it was good to meet you, Mr.
Oddwin. Oddlewinn. Thank you guys for entertaining me. I appreciate it.
That was so cool.
I regret. I don't know what's happening.
I freaking love this book. I really do.
Well, it was great to meet you, Mr. Oddities, and if I feel it is the need for me to lose my shadow for something in return, I'll be sure to pick you up.
I hope I survive. Maybe that's another timeline. Another world.
Perhaps.
Enjoy.
You as well.
Thank you.
Have you drawn a card lately?
You asking him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I do not draw. Only once have I ever.
What did you learn?
You see his smiles fade. But not all fortunes are happy. But not all sad memories are bad.
Perhaps you should have drawn the sage then.
Thank you for your advice.
I'll head back to the table.
You look back and all of your drinks are already waiting for you, as well as a very nice kind of like cheese and meats and fruits kind of like plate. Everything's there.
Charcuterie.
The shimmering concoction made from a blend of rare celestial fruits fused with a bit of stardust magic. Served in crystal goblets, it glows with a soft ethereal light. And when you go to taste, it tastes like a bit of sweet nectar and starlight.
Ooh.
Yeah. I find myself remembering why I missed, amongst many reasons, spending time amongst you, because I feel like I get pampered, so I'm sorry if that's something you've had to deal with and it's not been great. But when you're not used to it and you get stuff like this, it's kind of refreshing.
Well, I'm glad you all can enjoy it. It's gotten a little stifling over these past few years, increasingly, but on this sort of thing, it's nice. Hopefully it also means people will give us their distance, too, and respect, and keep a little quieter if anything was to be said or talked about.
That might be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can imagine that if you're constantly dealing with people following you around, that'd be quite annoying. I understand that sentiment of things, at least.
Yeah. Well, I still have the card. Speaking of the card guy, the one that we pulled at that shop. Sorry, Osric?
No, go ahead. I'm a little worried about the cards more than I let on.
Why did you do it then?
It was a challenge, and I am never curious. I wanted to see if he could actually take my shadow. To be honest, whatever happens with the cards, I don't know if it will, but truly, I've never seen magic like his before. If it was magic indeed.
It looks just strange when he took it from you. That's not a normal thing, after all.
It did not feel good. I will say that. I will be happy when my shadow is back with me.
How are you feeling now?
How am I feeling now? Mostly back to normal?
You feel fine. Yeah, it was just a momentary moment of sadness. Like when you saw that, it was almost like just a blast of emotion. Like you were in this moment that when you saw those items, it meant a lot to you. But it was over just as quickly as it happened, and you don't really feel physically different with your shadow gone. It just kind of look down. It's just kind of like
it's weird.
Odd. Yeah, it's just that weird, like, okay. But it doesn't feel weird by any means.
It's just very strange. I haven't ever heard of something like this beyond, some books.
I do feel fine now, at least, but I'm curious about the cards.
I'm curious about what he said, that your shadow will come back and the prophecy will happen? Or, whatever your fate was read as?
Apparently in 2 days, something to do with gems and some sort of healing. We'll see.
Is that what was on the first card? It just looked blank to me.
It
actually did.
Osric is just gonna be like, what?
Completely blank.
Oh.
Glad to know I'm not crazy, because I just thought blank as well, Zinnia.
Maybe Osric's crazy.
I mean, we knew that to a small degree already, though.
I think that you might be right on that one.
I'm not one to say I told you so I'll leave it at that.
You are one to say I told you so.
I mean, you could ask where his buddy was at the time when he was pulling those cards.
Yes, that is true.
My keep in the buddy system, Osric?
Oh, always. The buddy system is sacrosanct to me.
I haven't seen you in the past 6 years.
I know you have been a terrible.
Oh my God, we're not doing this again. So help me God.
And he wasn't that tall.
Well, he was still short when I knew him.
This is only because he left me.
He had to have been short, otherwise she would have been able to catch up and see him the entire time.
Is this my fault?
No, Zinnia, I'm just poking fun at you. I missed you dearly.
I got busy.
I know. I've heard some things, but...
Clearly, people don't wear armor so casually and easily if they haven't done some kind of training for it.
I mean, not people from the gutter.
I don't think not people from anywhere, but yes, including the gutter.
What have you been up to?
Me?
Yes.
Well, so the money that when we were kids that Nubia gave us helped to fix that window. Remember the window that let all the water come in?
Yeah.
That got fixed.
About that.
That got fixed. And so, the orphanage thanked you so much. Helinia really appreciated it. But as with age and buildings and the fact that the gutter doesn't get the best quality stuff, the roof started going, the doors were all creaking, more kids were being shunted into this world and we couldn't leave them without family. So we took them in. So it just became I was helping Helinia nonstop with that kind of stuff. And then money got tight, so there was a poster that was like, join now, be an adventurer, like, earn money, training will be provided. So I figured I'd sign up, and so that I got some training there and got some money, did some odd jobs, send it all back to Helinia. But
That's really sweet of you.
yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's what I hope this is like. I just paydays are needed to keep the roof over those kids' heads, so that's what I've been up to. How about you guys?
Very sweet. Well, lots of things. I mean, it's been so long. Lots of training and just learning about a lot of things. Like I said, this is one of the first times that I've been able to step out, and since that day, I believe. I mean, I've been around the Anubian coast, but it's kind of refreshing. This is a pilgrimage that I'm supposed to be taking, by the way.
Oh, exciting.
So no distractions. She kind of looks at Arzan. I'm not really supposed to have too many distractions. And
Arzan winks at her.
And I'm just trying to learn about the life and especially death cycle so that I can perform duties when I get back. And yeah, I have another 2 years before I need to attend to any of those, but the pilgrimage is pretty vital in the roles, so just trying to enjoy it. A little bit of freedom.
2 years to enjoy the freedom. Live it up, girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Within
mean,
reason, I'm still a representative sort of figure.
I won't tell if you don't.
Are these things that both of you are like actually wanting to do, or are these just the things you feel you're needing to do?
Nubia looks a little sad. Need to. Want to. Have to. A mix.
We'll make sure we have fun along the way.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting.
May want to revisit this a few times.
Speaking of fun, Arzan,
Yes.
we mentioned you look very different.
You've
what
had a lot
happened?
of
Did you
fun.
have a midlife crisis, or what happened?
You can't just ask someone that.
Oh, sure I can. We're old friends.
I hope it's not a midlife crisis. That means my life's going to be cut short far sooner than it should.
Well, according to that, whatever it was, card reading, I might lose somebody very important to me.
Oh.
It better not be you.
I feel very special if I'm that important to you so quickly.
Oh, of course.
No, we had that day together. We had, those memories we gained, and I went back home and everybody's wearing black and grays, and I just couldn't get the colors and a world filled with vibrancy out of my mind. Some things happened at home. You know how it goes. My grandfather felt, maybe we got to try something different. Sent me off to school. Which is where I've been for the last while before I got my invite here. And of course, getting sent off to school and my parents and grandparents being the ones to kind of help make sure that things got through with that. I obviously got sent into the school that was filled with all the people who were about the same, lots of grays and blacks, and I felt I couldn't stand that. I was gonna go crazy. Maybe I did go a little crazy, so I decided to start making changes. Not be the same, because I didn't want to be.
Bold.
This look suits your personality a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, I liked white hair. Stood out, but I could see in a world of monochrome how that might get a little.
And I might go back to it someday, but you're exactly right. In a world of monochrome, being another monochrome feels very mundane.
It's fair.
How about yourself, Osric?
I've been progressing my education in a different way, a little bit more hands-on. I signed up with a group who is interested in artifacts and trying to figure out a way to restore things. It's been a little bit of a pet project of mine, and I've explored quite a bit, but always looking for something new. Hence why
That's
I'm
really
here.
exciting. Yeah.
I'm still
Perfect place
terrible in a fight, but you know, we can't be good at everything. I hope that's why I have you guys with your fancy armors in you, if we need it.
I was about to say if we need it.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we can beat them with our winning smiles, I should say. As in the groups, not just me or Osric.
Mostly me.
You have quite the smile.
The friends?
The friends.
Friends?
Long lost friends reunited once again.
Fates are apart, and now they're back together again. That rhymed. Sorry.
What are you sorry for? Rhymes can be fun.
Well, I just have a friend back home who just thought he was the most clever with some of the things he would come up with.
Well, this was you coming up with it, though, this time, not him. And he's not here, so you don't need to worry about it.
Oh my gosh, if he was here. Thank goodness the guard didn't come with.
Well, as you clearly shown and stated, the guard's not here. You're with friends. Drink up.
She's just gonna sip a little bit.
Oops. Pinky's up.
Don't forget your caramel apples. I got those special for today.
They are very good. Thank you.
You still remember when we had those ones that had those weird kind of palate changes?
Yeah. What was that? I'm trying to remember the taste that I had.
I think each of us had a different one. I think mine, if I remember right, was very similar to Osric's.
I believe so, yes. It was,
Mine was very
insubstantial.
cinnamony. Oh, that's right. Didn't you just you disappeared, didn't you?
Yes, it was not the nicest feeling at the time.
That makes me wonder, is it the same feeling you had when you talked about your shadow just a moment ago? Because I remember that feeling.
A little bit different. This was sadder, I suppose.
Fair enough. Zinnia, how are you doing over there?
Well, I didn't eat them when we were kids, so this will be my first time.
You didn't have...
You had a bite of the other. You had the bite of the magic apple, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
but we didn't have the regular caramel.
That's fair. I'm just thinking, when I first met you, Zinnia, I felt like you were much more like... just making sure you're doing okay. I feel like
I'm
you got a lot
fine.
on your shoulders.
I'm good.
You, for that matter. I feel
I'm
like
fine.
the two girls here have gotten a lot more on their shoulders with responsibility.
Yes.
Zinni has always been boring.
Rude.
Oh.
You may
I
be
feel like
taller, but I
she's
can still
extremely
swat you in the back of your head.
Careful, you might
You're the
knock
same
them out
height
these
as
days.
me when
It's true.
we're sitting.
Especially with the armor. What sort of things have you gone on adventures for, though, Zinnia?
Oh, just small stuff like, when, rats take over people's shops and stuff, and you just got to kind of like sweep them out and just making sure people get from one place to another safely, like escort quests, but they take forever and they are the worst, let me tell you.
Are they?
They're
I thought you would
the
have loved
worst.
them with how much you like to talk about. Like,
Well, I
to
mean,
other
I do
people.
like to make friends, and it's great and all, but like these people are the slowest people you have ever met, and it's just like, come on, people, let's move, keep up with the pace. But
I've heard
That
I've heard
sounds very
stories.
frustrating.
yeah.
And I have to
sometimes
admit,
they just stop.
when you talked about rats taking over people, for a second there, I thought you were talking about like the rats like actually controlling the people somehow.
No, like people's
that would be
basements or their shops,
Right.
like pest control, small stuff like
Yeah.
that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing
Awesome.
exciting.
Osric, you've heard of rumors of rats that can psychically take over people in the gutter.
That's a thing in this game.
I'm glad that
Writing
you
that down.
tried to take out the side rats. Those things are apparently very dangerous.
Hi, rat.
Side
Oh.
rats.
That does not sound good at all. Goodness.
Yeah, that sounds frightening. I don't like rats as they come.
Yeah.
Well, thank goodness I have not run into those yet. Knock on wood. And I she'll knock on the table.
Rodents in general are just little.
No, they're fine. They're cute. Give them a chance.
This is about the time you guys hear another whistle, as it does seem that the crates that have fallen and the first mate, who had been quite upset at this error, got everything cleared. You can hear the boisterous man. Well, I was glad to meet you, but it's our time to get going. I promise I'll look out for everyone on board here and make a good representative of everybody, but it was good seeing you again, and a pleasure to make your acquaintance. And for everyone, don't be worried, the broken blades will keep everyone safe upon the maiden voyage. To everyone, be safe. Forever for Majora. And he kind of waddles up onto the ship, and everyone's, wow, great, clapping. You see this assortment of the adventurers who are all out kind of, waving to him. There's this fighter's got a couple spears on the back and saluting. He's kind of got this weird blue sort of leather armor on, but they have a bee on the front. It's almost like heroes, almost like they're in uniforms in a bit. There's another one who's holding this hammer, and he flashes a little bit of lightning and then kind of winks at them. But there's just a variation of them kind of standing there and kind of nodding to all, and signing autographs for kids, and they follow him up the ship as well. But they do make kind of a last call and kind of whistle that in about 10 to 15 minutes the ship will be departing.
Well, shall we get aboard ourselves? I will get up, and if people...
Wait, haven't we already been in here the whole time? Or do we go outside the ship?
You are outside the ship. It's kind of like a little roped
we
off
went
area.
On, came off.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Sorry, I thought we were inside.
You're good.
Gotcha. You're good. John's paying attention, apparently. I'm not.
No, you're good. It's a roped off section from the ship, so you guys were able to go back out, grab your drinks. That's where the goblin was, and there's still a few more shops if you guys do wish to look at them, but there's a rare bird shop, a spell scroll place, and some antiques, and then one last one of just a general goods sort of thing, if there's just anything else you need. And some of it's venturing stuff, potions of healing. They got some magic items, some regular weapons and armor, but it's just kind of off to the side, not too much showmanship going on.
Yeah.
But the orc kind of comes up and grabs your cups and plates, and
I'll stand up though, and I will offer a hand towards Nubia. Shall we?
Sure. Thank you. And then she kind of just looks at, from him to Zinnia, if he's going to do the same thing.
I'm just already getting up.
I give Osric a look.
Yeah.
There you go.
Get your own chair.
Make sure to push it in.
Mm-hmm.
As we walk away, I just go, Spectrum Manus. And Mage Hand appears and pushes the chairs in as we're walking away.
Very
Someone that knows their
showmanship.
manners.
I never learned.
They're overrated.
You guys find your way back up the ship and kind of going up. You can actually feel the hum of the vessel now vibrating just a little bit as it seems like these engines begin to come to a purr underneath. Where are you guys going to go on the ship, as it does seem to be, you know, the last couple members seem to be ushered on. The last bit, you see like a tourist family who like seem to have missed their ride, kind of like hustle back on, and the one right behind them seems to be that goblin walks on as well, the fortunes. But
I see the goblin walk on as well. I'm just going to. I know we're here for fun and everything, but the way that goblin was worried about his life, to make sure we keep an eye on each other. Something might happen.
Never about
Do you,
that.
do you think if anything happens to him, something's going to happen to the shadows?
I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on Allswork as well then, won't we?
Will do.
I must say that thought did not cross my mind, but now it has, and I do not like it.
The deck that he was using is very interesting. I mean, I keep trying to think of what sort of magic or feature
Speaking of
cards have.
decks, do we keep heading up towards the main deck, kind of see what's going on?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sorry,
Sure.
but you please, Nubia, continue.
Oh, no, I really liked the star card that you gave me, and I've kept it after all these years, and I wanted to collect more. I thought that they were fascinating. Study the stars and the connection to the tarot decks and all. So I just think it's really interesting and fascinating when other people use it as well.
I'm very touched that you kept that card. Thank you.
Yeah. And look at Zinnia. She has a bunch of trinkets.
Oh, I kept your card too. And she'll like hold up
Oh.
like another one of the trinkets that's on her like chatelaine, and it's folded, so it's the Joker card because she didn't want to ruin the deck, but she's folded it into the shape of like a paper crane for good luck. And it's like mostly white to match what your hair was, so she's folded in a way that like it kind of reflects you, and it's just dangling from the thing. She's like, to be honest, I kept everything you guys gave me, but like not to seem weird about it, but like I was really looking forward to that 5 years at the bookshop.
Oh,
Don't feel too embarrassed about it.
right.
I probably would have kept something if I was allowed to as well. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, standing outside that bookshop at 5 years and no one showing up, it was fine. It was fine. I was walking by. I was going to the bake shop anyways. And, you know, I was going to go get some muffins, go say hi to Belinda. But yeah, it was good. It was good. Don't worry. Life gets in the way.
If I knew that
We're
I
here
could get
now.
a letter out to you, I would have very much written you a letter. However, you know,
I was a silly little
whole
kid. Don't worry.
murder assassination thing that happened kind of, you know.
Sorry, what?
Well, at the
Oh.
festival.
The festival.
Yeah.
Got it.
That kind of put a damper on returning.
That's fair.
I would like to apologize. Uncle Lance had sent me off to do work.
It's fine. Let's move on. That deck that we were talking about. Let's head up to it, right?
Sure.
That sounds good.
As you guys begin to head your way up kind of to, this is like the main area, and then there's a nice viewing deck in the back, as well as a covered area, and you can see there's quite a few people just kind of mingling about on the main deck, but this covered area seems to where the captain and now an engineer is kind of running around grabbing everything. The captain is sitting a bit in a chair. He's got maps of the region next to him, and you see him kind of like waving his hand, and there seems to be a mage hand on this old style like turn thing. It's kind of very almost for show, it seems a little bit, as there's like levers and gems for him to manipulate as well. But you all can see with a kind of golden plaque lettering on the door. Captain Raelia Stormwind. You can see like the human. He's got a bit of a beard, piercing blue eyes. Definitely seems to have quite a command of respect for his crew. It's a human. You can see the engineer is some sort of dwarf, kind of gruff, stout-hearted, got like a thick beard. I don't know, dwarf, obviously, but it's kind of cut at the sides in a very neat way, and then brought to like this extension with a little bit of beard, or beads on his beard, to kind of give it a little bit of a presentation. Again, they're all wearing similar uniforms and stuff as well. But as you go up,
names again? Sure.
So you don't know the name of the engineer, but you can see on the sign, Raelia, Raelia Stormwind. But you do, as you go up, you can see a few more members of the crew kind of talking with some of these VIPs, and not everyone here is super fancy. There are quite a few that are holding and having conversations. There's definitely kind of mixed class here. Though Zinni and Osric, you both are probably the most feel out of place, as no one else here is from the gutter. I'd say the schools and kind of the mid district is kind of like the mid tier is kind of the highest class you guys see here on this ship. You can overhear a wealthy nobleman, kind of a elf, or not an elf, a human noble, wearing black leathered tuxedo, has a bit of a glass of wine. Lady Soul, it's such a pleasure to make your acquaintance here. I wasn't expecting you to be arriving from the Nubian coast so soon. I heard a new find had brought your attention there. And Osric, you do recognize the name. Isolde Silverleaf. She's a well-known, renowned archaeologist that is from Arcana Majora, but has been studying mostly in the ruins of not Necropolis, but the ruins in the Nubian coast of the first pharaoh Anubis. It's kind of a bit of a very dangerous first capital. That the capital now is at the Necropolis, but the old ruins are where the first capital of the Nubian coast used to be, and it's very much covered with fiends, but there's many artifacts out there as well.
Oh, that is Dr. Silverleaf. She is. I've read some of her papers. She's amazing. I can't believe I'm on the same ship.
Perfect time for conversation, right?
Do you need me to introduce you?
Oh, she would not want to speak to me, I'm sure. I have
you've never met before, you just know her of status.
Yeah.
So.
How do you know she'd never want to speak with you?
Yeah.
Who would? I'm a gutter rat.
Smart.
Does she know you're a gutter rat?
No, but...
Do you believe you're a gutter rat?
Absolutely not.
Then you're not a gutter rat, are you?
Thank you.
It's one of those don't meet your heroes thing. I would be concerned.
I mean, that's fair.
You are correct, though. There is probably not another chance in my lifetime to speak to her.
I'm gonna nudge you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nubia will back him up.
Do you need help with introductions?
Noticing that, yeah, if this lady's like from the Nubian coast, or like, you know.
These two are fancy. They'll get you in.
I wouldn't mind some help.
All right, what do you know about her?
Well, he'll go over what Michael just said. She's studying in the Nubian ruins, in an area covered with fiends. She's a very prominent archaeologist in the area. I was paying attention.
What a keener. Go Osric.
You know. But yeah, he'll fill you guys in on what he knows.
All right. I will make my way over towards her.
Sorry, hold on. Looking out, I was just about to say, Lord Lord Aldrich would appreciate your honors on which you speak of. I do know your patronage to the Arcane Towers has been very much appreciated, and I'm so sorry for the election loss, but I am very sure next time will be right around your alley. He just... well, it will be interesting to see where the money and the gold then flows. And he kind of sees you walking over and kind of gives a bit of like a, why the hell are you interrupting me? Do you just kind of like walk over and just stop there, or like do you say anything to interject?
It's not very often that students of the Arcanum get a chance to meet such prestigious archaeologists. Please, when you have a moment, I'd love a chance to talk with you.
That would be quite perfect. I believe our conversation was almost finished anyway. Yes, quite. And he kind of just gives you all a bit of a glance down his nose and just kind of turns.
Nice meeting you.
It's just like almost like a sigh with a bit of a smirk. I'll say RSA. And you can give me a history check with this. Well, no, I'll give you just a straight roll. Your grandfather might have mentioned him.
15.
You don't know too much about him. However, you have heard that he is an investor type, an arcane investor. That would be in certain circles with your father. At least in Major Arcana. Specifically around the main, not the schools, but the like the political structure of the Wizard's Tower. Not quite government, but in the political structure. So you kind of know him more of a behind the scenes guy, let's put it that way. Yeah, he just kind of looks to you all. Gives a curious little glance to Arsan as he's talking. Almost just like a second glance back, and then just like a never mind, and begins to walk off disdained. And you see him join up to the boisterous kind of pot-bellied tiefling that I'd been talking about, the broken blades, and kind of goes chummy up to him a bit. Well, you said you were a student, and pleasure to make your acquaintances at Dr. Silverleaf.
It's a pleasure to meet it. I am Arsan Caliste. I am a student of Witherbloom, but I have a friend of mine who is a student of archaeology himself.
Oh, that is fantastic. My apologies, I am not quite familiar with the Witherbloom Academy, though a few have come a longer way to offer their escorts, but...
many of them like to hold closer to themselves and work with dead things.
Understandable.
Don't cut quite the same line as most of them, but nothing wrong with that.
Nothing indeed.
Osric, come up here.
This
is my friend Osric, the archaeologist I was talking about.
It's very nice to meet you, Dr. Silverleaf. It's an honor.
Well, it is an honor as well. Not many archaeologists in this day and age that are willing to risk themselves. What sort of work have you been doing? Are you still a student, you said? I'm sorry.
Informally, I'm working with the Merchants of Mercy. They certainly are. Anytime they have an artifact that they cannot discover the purpose of, they bring it to me or send me out to go and get it. I am nowhere near your level of expertise by any means, but I've read some of your papers. The one you did on crystal resonance is just mind-blowing. I never would have thought of it myself. It's amazing to meet you.
Oh,
He's gonna just like gush.
please, you make a woman blush. I really appreciate that. Uh, the resonance here has been quite fascinating, actually. It's different, in some of the more ancient ruins of the resonances of today's arcane crystals. I'm sorry, you know of everything about that. I don't mean to bore you all with my work, but yes, the artifacts that we've been finding lately are something quite of interesting. And she kind of looks to you all, and again, my apologies. I do recognize you, Lady Nubia. A pleasure.
Sorry, I didn't introduce myself before.
I'm sure it's nice to sit back in as much shadow as you can sometimes.
That is a good point, yes.
And as you've met Nubia, please, this is our friend as well. Her name is Zinnia.
Zinnia is
Pleasure. And she'll shake her hand.
that is a good handshake. Pleasure to make your acquaintance as well. It brings you all on the board the vessel. What sort of work are you going along with?
My pilgrimage.
Of course, I've heard it's your big moment to shine, right?
To learn. I'd say less to shine. But
I have heard some rumors, but it's good to see you in good health.
thank you.
She kind of looks a little awkward.
Well, it's, for myself, just kind of stepping in to kind of help.
Yep. Ease the
awkward
moment.
pressure.
Yep.
For myself, wasn't planning on being on this ship, but an opportunity presented itself, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna take it. And as fate would have it, I ran into some friends that I hadn't seen in a while.
Well, you always need to follow fate. And she looks back at you, Osric. As for being experienced in the world, that carries much more than any degree or diploma does.
I appreciate that. That is how my grandparents operated, and that is how I shall do as well.
That's how I made myself as well.
And having been in college for a bit, I can concur. There's a very big difference between the professors with practical knowledge and application and those who have only made their ways through the academia purely.
Her hand, literally just kind of guides back towards Lord Aldrich. Or Aldrich, yeah.
Yeah, Aldrich.
She doesn't say anything, but it's just kind of like a silent sort of smirk.
And that's that. Well, if you happen to uncover anything that might be of particular interest to me, let me know.
Actually had. I'm sure you might have heard. I'm not exactly sure how the contacts go in the temple side of things, but we did send reports of a few cursed artifacts that we've found. Necromantic shaman symbols that I believe, let's put it that way, reign back all the way to the first pharaoh. Well, which pharaoh that you at least decree to, no offense, of course. We believe this one could be tied back to Osiris, but it does have some of the depictors of Anubis as well. We have found a various item of Ra. It actually seemed that someone replaced their eye with a bit of an arcane stone for trucing. It was quite interesting. But what I have found, for curiosity's sake, I have had a friend consult me from Sina Una itself. There's a artifact that, funny enough you bring it up, resonates in a similar fashion that they found in one of the old ruins there in Tropico. Hence why I'm going myself. I mean, a find like that would be absolutely game-changing.
So you said it's similar to the one that was in the Anubian coast.
These more ancient ones, some have deemed as materia, or I know that some others call them as the creation crystals, but more pure, either from the different orbital crystal planets that orbit us, or might have been part of the creation of this place. Where it's so intriguing to kind of go back and try and make those connections, but the ones that we find today, they're more mundane. They don't seem to have that same sort of energy, resonance, purity. Wow. Again, sorry, I don't mean to bore you, of course, and I could go on and on about the.
I think if we were bored, we would. If I was bored, I would let you know, and I have a feeling the rest of this group would as well. I think
Osric is literally just like hanging on every word.
She looks at you, Osric. She leans in. I will tell you a little bit of a secret. I might have been using a few mistranslations of some hieroglyphs to bankroll our expedition. Our friend over there might have heard a few hieroglyphics of immortality. Don't worry. Mistranslations.
They happen all the time.
They speak of
eternal immorality.
They would definitely not bankroll that.
They wouldn't. Well, some would. But you know how things are.
You never know. Well, I always find that the fancier the script, the more impressionable people think it is when it's not. You can have the most mundane word, egg, and as long as it looks fancy in script and they actually don't know it, you would not believe how many tattoos tourists get. And it says something very off.
She kind of looks down in a bit of a Sanskrit on her arm, in a little bit of nervousness, but she kind of glances it up to you. It's definitely not mistranslated, but a bit of like old ancient text and sort of like kind of worded from like a famous tablet or something like that.
Okay.
I hope my translation is pure.
Sense.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I would hate for it to say like, you know, egg sandwich was good or something like that.
Someone had noodles one time, just on their back. Yeah.
Perhaps they like noodles.
They thought it said warrior. At least my friend was saying that they thought it meant warrior. He just played it up. He's like, huh. It's very boisterous and just kind of. Yeah, he's probably the reason that poor guy got a tattoo. Anyways, no, yours is fine.
Well,
it was a pleasure to meet you, though.
It was a pleasure. I really do hope we have more time to engage. I know the ship is about to head off, but I don't see any of the paladins with the order. Are they escorting you?
No, with the pilgrimage, it's just supposed to be the priestess and nobody else. So.
Oh, really? My studies, I must have gotten that wrong. I thought it was tradition to have the heads of the temples and the paladins pilgrimage together.
I mean, there's been a little bit of break in tradition over the last little bit, but it's also to blend in, learn more about the society, a little bit more undercover without being 100% undercover.
I don't mean to mix pleasure with work. Is that off the record or on the record?
Judging by how her mentor said it, off.
It's all up to you. I'll leave that completely up to you and your judgment of the situation.
We'll
she never necessarily said it had to
be
secret, but again, she also seemed worried, so.
Yeah. Let's just say that this is more of a trial run.
Understood. I'd be very curious about your experience, and if I might, and she looks at the others a little, for the first time a little abashedly, I would enjoy an exclusive study. Again, for work's sake, I will make sure to keep everything private, but it would be quite enjoyable to help you keep those traditions intact and enjoy them growing into the future. It's not often that Anubia and your society breaks from tradition, so this is actually quite big.
Yes, sounds good. I am curious about some of the other gods as well. I know it's mostly Anubis that we focus on, but I've always found the rest of them fascinating.
It is sad, some of the loss of the knowledge and artifacts that Osiris had for him. She kind of referenced to the three of you. Of course, the war between Osiris and Anubis for control of the Pharisee, but many of Osiris's history has been wiped out by the Order, but at least the Sacred Sisters have survived this far with the necropolis.
There's like a tiny strange look Nubia gives for a second, but
right.
It's like a
sorry.
Quick flash. No, it's an adjustment. They are fascinating in their own right. We'll save that for some sort of interview. Ish.
Of course. I don't mean to trample on your night.
We could perhaps save it for, one of the breakfast, lunches, or dinners, perhaps. You should come and join us.
I would be honored. I do believe we have a week, and I'm going to grow quite bored of some of the people here.
Well, we are nothing if not entertaining in my experience with the rest of this group.
You clearly have made yourself obviously so. She looks at you, Arasan, shakes your hand. Arasan, Osric, Zinnia, Nubia. Please, don't be a stranger.
Of course.
Likewise.
We'll talk more.
She kind of nods and just, begins to, kind of like respectfully, let herself from the conversation. You actually see her heading over to like the navigator and striking up a conversation with him and kind of beginning to point some of the islands. You can see a map of Tropica and Sina Una. You can feel though the purr of the ship as it does begin to lurch and you guys begin to take off. And heading over to the railing, you can see on docking and everyone waving in the kind of hue of the blues and oranges as the ship slowly begins to teeter. And almost this moment of just anticipation, and then suddenly this burst of air and a warm fire from the different crystals begin to expand this balloon above you and begin to rise the vessel higher. And quickly, the large tower of a natural set crystal that has been carved in arcane sets to be many, many countless periphrases and towers outside of it of different places of locale and schools, but the natural crystal making the main center of the city and the different rings around it to the coast slowly begins to fade away. And suddenly you're kind of in this peaceful separation of the Major Arcana heading off and the neon blues and purples of the ocean down below you on one side, and then different cities and lights appearing underneath, but just kind of becoming almost half as if you're in the stars, as gravity and the sake of almost being in the astral sea is almost like right on the verge of where this ship is kind of flying to.
Arzan has probably the biggest smile on his face right now.
You guys give me
Zinnia's in awe.
Yeah.
Give me a perception check.
15.
I cannot do perception.
7.
7-2.
21.
21.
I'm helping.
Nubia. As everyone, you're all looking out in this moment of just grandeur, and even the most boisterous of those, as airships normally don't make it this high, are seeing this sight for the first time. Maybe you catch a glimpse of a shooting star right on the front of the bow is where you're headed, kind of dropping through the sky. And for that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up our second episode of Fates Apart. Thank you guys so much for joining in. I'm super excited to see where the characters continue to grow and meet together as the both Fates Aparts that have set everyone from realms to different have all brought you apart and now back together as our adventure begins in this tale. So again, thank you guys so much. This has been a bit of a heart project for me for the past almost year and a half now, and it's been amazing to bring you guys to the table and get a chance to tell this story with you. So everyone at home, thank you again so much for being a part of this. If you like, again, the link to the Discord is down below if you want to come hang out with us when we're offline, as well as joining us here on Bardicdice for more stories and everything. That and everything, we'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you again for watching Fates Apart. If you liked this content, please consider liking, following, subscribing, and sharing with your friends. Every little bit helps. Hope you have a great week. See you next time.